Everyone, this is all about say it so they get it. Yeah, sounds simple, doesn't it? But how come it's so flippin' hard? I want to know why. Say it so they get it is what this is all about. And let's talk about little secrets on how to do that. One of the most interesting things is you can have the best strategy in the world and you could have thought through it. It is a good one. But if you can't communicate it, it does you no good. If you can't get your team to understand the direction you're going and why it's happening, it isn't going to do you much good because people will be divided and the organization will be fighting each other rather than going along in the same path straight up. You'll be going all of a sudden and then go boom, and fight, and you have to dig through that, fight and dig through that because you didn't communicate it. What you did is tell it and assumed everybody understood it. That doesn't work. Not anymore. You have to communicate it effectively, and that's what this is all about. The one secret here that's important for everyone to understand is most of the time, not always, there's always exceptions, but most of the time, the problem isn't the people, it's the communication. That's your single source of issues. You know, I just came out not too long ago with the one-page plan. This is another great example. The one-page plan is the same thing about how do you come with clarity. Clarity is that secret power to leadership, to making sure everyone understands. Think back through a bunch of things you've done or some experiences you've had. Maybe you haven't had any. But what has been the reason why things have been delayed? Oftentimes, it's because people misunderstood things or misunderstood what the purpose was, or misunderstood how it applied. Communication, that's the evil thing that stops you, the lack of it. Another part is when you think through is that feedback, when you get feedback on a project, it's vague or inconsistent or not in a way that makes sense, leaving them confused. And that crushes results. But how often do you see that in an organization? All the time. And if you don't see it, you might be the one doing it. And one of the greatest ways of knowing that you have an issue is when customers are ticked off because they had a different expectation than what you gave them. Communications all to blame for this. The lack of good, clarifying communication. Remember, when I say clarifying, I'm talking about clarity. Clarity is alignment, meaning that all things are moving together. And even though you think you're being clear, you're not. We assume so many different things. Take those assumptions out and just state them very clearly. Clarity and simplification rule, because that is what's going to lead to alignment, and alignment is what leads to success. You know, one of the things I like to compare this to is clarity and communications like Wi-Fi. When you have bad Wi-Fi and all of a sudden it just pauses and you're stuck in that circle of death, I mean, you really don't have time for it. And it pisses you off. Communication is the same way. If you're trying to understand what's going on, they all get pissed off like bad Wi-Fi. It's the same principle that if it's consistent, everything's good. As soon as it falls off, it has all these negative impacts. You got to reset everything. You got to redo it. You got to go and unplug everything. Sucks, but you do it and get back in alignment. So the question comes back to, how do I, as a leader, how do I become clearer in my messaging? And I'm going to tell you a few things you can work on right now. Understanding expectation and delivering it to your people in such a way that there's no way they could misunderstand the expectation of this project. And how do you as a leader get that expectation? Is by making sure you understand it on whether or not you're the one creating it or giving it to someone, and then making sure they understand expectation. What's the result and what's the date the result has to happen? What's the expectation? Now, notice I didn't say, how are you going to achieve the expectation? I didn't say that at all. I said, what's the expectation? Important difference there. So expectations, number one. Number two, feedback. As you're working through the project, giving very clear feedback, very clear and pointed as to what is going on. Again, the expectation is the result and the date the result is expected. The feedback is how are they doing compared to the expectations of the date and the result of what's expected. And be very clear in it. We are not doing well. It looks like we're doing very well and going to hit it. It doesn't look like we're going to hit it. Help me overcome why you still think we will. Be very clear in your feedback as you're checking in on your projects. Not being clear and not giving clear direction throughout all of it ruins expectation. And if expectations ruin, clarity's ruined. If clarity's ruined, so is alignment. And thus the project doesn't go the way you want it to go. And lastly, direction. The direction you want to take people is crucial in this. And this is what I mean. You first and foremost set expectation. Second, you gave feedback. Third, you're giving them the direction of which and where they're going. For instance, if the expectation was met, what's next? The direction as to where they go. Say they had a good success within this project to get to the expected date and result, but they're stuck. What's the direction you can give them to give them unstuck? These are the 3 secret superpowers. The expectation has to be clear. The follow-up and the feedback has to be clear. And the direction has to be clear and consistent. Those are your little secret weapons within making sure clarity exists within your organization. And I want to tell you this, that once you understand all 3, even if you're not a master at it, but you understand, that's where the belief in the team starts to rise because you're delivering a consistent, smooth message and you're holding things consistently to them and not changing everything all the time and creating consistency and clarity. And that is alignment, my friends. Another little part, you can call it the 3 C's. The 3 C's are the pillars of success, maybe we can say. But to say the 3 C's is really the easiest part to remember. When you're trying to make sure that you want to be as clear as possible, try this out. Be clear. That's the first C. Say what you mean. Don't say, we need this ASAP. No, I need this by October 5th at 2 p.m. Say what you mean. Clear. ASAP, what's that mean? As soon as possible. What if they have 15 other projects and they think that soon as possible means it's the 16th? See how that gets confusing? Be clear. C number 1. C number 2, be consistent. Say it often. Say the same thing. Say the same thing in a different way so they understand it's going after the same result. Inconsistency kills. Consistency. The 3rd C is connected. Make your team feel connected. If they feel connected all the way along the way, then now your alignment comes in. Your clarity, be concise and clear. Don't let corporate fog come in. Be consistent in message and in direction. Have your team feel connected overall. That is a little bit of what will help you. Even if you can't figure out the rest of it, if you take the 3 C's, that alone will catapult you into a much better position than you are right now. So when you deliver a message, make sure your 3 C's are being addressed in that. Think through this as a leader. Don't just say, all right, I'm going to give this message and then just give it. No. How are you going to be clear? How are you going to make sure that everyone is concise? How are you going to make sure everyone's consistent in your message and that they all understand it so that you have a clear direction, which allows everybody then to feel connected? Informed. So communication, a lot of times people think it's a one-way street, which is odd to me because I don't understand that thinking at all. Communication is like looking into a mirror. look at it and see yourself. Does it make sense? I don't think I need to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you it anyway because it closes this loop. When communication is clear, so are your results. When success happens, when productivity goes up, drama goes down. And you don't want that drama. Drama comes from inconsistent communication. That's where the drama comes from. So when you got the success and you're using the 3 C's to catapult your way up, drama goes down. More fun place to work. One of the fastest ways to change your organization is for clarity and consistency to be there. Clarity and consistency to be there. If you're clear and concise, everyone's going to feel connected. If everyone feels connected, you're all moving in the same direction. Don't forget that. The 3 C's have so much power. So here we're going to end it and go, leadership isn't about screaming the loudest. It's not the loudest voice. It seems to be sometimes, but that's not true leadership. It's the clearest message. The clearest message means it's understood by the masses and everybody is working in the same direction. Thanks, y'all. Have a great one. Till next time, it's Big Dave. Bye-bye.